Hello, this is unscripted, unlike the previous video. On the previous video, I wanted to be very careful with the message that I was putting out into the world because I found it to be a very important thing for me. This, not really that much. This is more for my viewer base. Today is the day that I turned 30 years old. Yes, 29th of July, I turned 30. It's been 30 years of a life. I was in school until I was about 17 with a gap year where I found roguelikes. I've talked about this plenty of times. This is the year where I played a lot of NetHack, and towards the end of it, I found Crawl. Um, And it also helped me exercise my English a little bit. After that year, I was in high school for about 2 years, give or take, until it became obvious to me that like that was not going to work for me. I was never a stellar student, and I very much never had any aspiration or interest to pursue education the way that it was presented to me through school. I always forgot my homework. I was always berated by teachers. When it came to bullying, it wasn't really a problem. Um, Maybe a little bit in elementary school, but in middle school there was this one very small kid who, for some reason, wanted to be the bully, but he kind of chilled out after I um, got him in a headlock in my first year of middle school. But like he was a really small kid, and I wasn't a small kid in middle school, and I'm not a small adult. Whenever I ride the metro in the weekends, I am often taller than most, if not all, of the people in the metro. I'm not really that tall. I'm just 6 feet, but being 6 feet in Mexico is um, not very common. But anyway, my issues with school were really like homework and like being presented with information that I didn't care about, right? That I had no interest in, or on the other hand, learning too fast and then being bored. That also happened to me a lot. Um, in high school, the breaking point for me and the reason why I just dropped out of formal education altogether was the um, reality crushing realization that the entirety of what I was learning in high school was engineered towards going through high school. If you learn the things in high school to go through high school and then you dispose of that knowledge never to be used again, except, of course, if it's knowledge that pertains to the area that you want to pursue higher education in. For example, obviously, a physics student will care about physics and mathematics and that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, I have mentioned this a couple of times. I do not think that the structure of schooling, as it is present in Mexico, at least I am just gonna mention Mexico because that's what I lived. It might also be the same in most other countries, but I don't think that gatekeeping your progress through the acquisition of knowledge that you do not care about and you're not going to use is a good thing. Presenting the knowledge to people is a good thing. I do think that everyone should be presented with the knowledge because how are you gonna know if something is interesting if you have never experienced it, right? Um, but if you experience it and it's not like a core basic necessity for everyday life, why would you gatekeep people away from what they actually want? This might be a very naive take, um, product of my privilege. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were more people like me that just dropped out of school because they didn't care about what they were being presented with. Um, Yeah, it is a very demotivating thing when you have to do something over and over and over again where you don't care about, and you have to wake up early and you don't want to wake up early, and you have to travel 3 hours in public transport every day to get to school and back home to do stuff that you don't want to do. Yeah, that is the thing. You could make those sacrifices for stuff that you were passionate about, but if no passion, no sacrifice. Or at least that's how it was for me, and I dropped out. And then I had a couple of years where I was pretty much a NEET. I exercised my English actually quite a bit, and this comes up quite a lot because before these years between my last formal schooling and my first job, I watched a lot of YouTube, right? Before then, I already knew how to read and write English, but listening and speaking English was outside of my realm of expertise. So these years, where where I pretty much woke up and um, watched YouTube and played roguelikes, helped a lot. Believe it or not, they helped a lot. They gave me more than I got from high school. Like I got so little from high school that I can tell you that like friends from high school, I have contact with one, like consistent contact with one. I had a couple, but most of them are gone from my life, as in I haven't talked to them in probably more than a decade at this point. There's one that introduced me to Magic the Gathering, and I wish I could be a closer friend to him, but yeah, our lives went in different paths. Um, um, so yeah, when it comes to knowledge, yeah, I didn't get anything when it came to knowledge. Um, no, I didn't get anything from high school. I truly didn't get anything from high school. It was the only thing that I got actually. I did get one thing, and that was the realization that the schooling system just didn't work for me, or rather, I didn't have any interest in the schooling system. Um, on the other hand, those years where I wasn't going to school, I got a lot. Um, I acquired the knowledge to build my first computer. Throughout this time, I was active in the Yu-Gi-Oh scene. I was judging events and I was selling cards, and I got enough money to build my first computer. And it was pretty trash, but it was better than anything that I had up until that point. I was 19 years old when I first built my first computer, and I acquired that knowledge thanks to YouTube. Without YouTube, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Without my knowledge of English that I got in elementary school, thanks to Yugi as well, I wouldn't have been able to build my computer, to know English to build my computer. It was a big deal for me, that thing, that building of a computer, because it felt like I acquired a skill that I could monetize to, avoid starvation. And I did build a couple of computers in the future. I guess now in the past, but then it was in the future, and I did get some money from that. But unfortunately, it was not consistent enough for me to make a living out of it. And then I got my first job, which required me to use a lot of public transport and walk a lot, and it didn't pay me very well. So by the end of it, I was really exhausted. Like I was physically exhausted, and I was malnourished. I was at one of my lightest weights ever. Um, and it took me a while to quit that job. I reconnected with a middle school friend who incentivized me to do it, aspiring to something better. And so I quit that job and I got my second um, formal job, which was at a call center slash service desk where I was talking to people and tried to help them fix their computer problems. And I still remember that the first um, the first couple of weeks I was very happy. I was extremely happy about the job because I felt like I was helping people and I was doing something good. Um, but it very quickly became evident that I was just exercising an elaborate charade for the company that I was working in to extract company that or to extract money from the company that the company I was working with was renting my services to. Um, so I was just a machine that generated money for the company that hired me, and I got a very small fraction of that money, very tiny fraction, without really doing anything good for anyone. Um, that was very demotivating to me, so I asked for a change in for a change of area, you could say that. And then after changing areas, I actually got a lot. In that company, I worked for like a bit over a year, I think. And in the last 3 months, which is when I switched to the other area, I learned more than in all of the rest of the time in the company. Like I learned a lot about computers that I didn't know, about Windows and like Active Directory and that kind of thing. Um, that was actually an important thing for me. But I think that the most important thing that happened to me during that job was um, the realization that like my labor was being stolen from me. I did get some in terms of skills from the company, but I didn't really get much else. And the company did get a lot from me. Um, when I realized that I was working as hard as I was working, and my reward was more work than the guy next to me who clearly knew a thing or two about these things and by extension was working as little as humanly possible and getting paid the same as I was without any fear of losing his job or getting fired or even reprimanded. Um, yeah, at that point, I vividly remember the moment that I decided to quit that second job. This was when I was around 24 years old. No, I was 23. I was 23 years old when this happened. I woke up at about 4:30 a.m. because I used to clock in at 6 a.m. and clock out at 2 p.m. It was a great schedule. But the thing is that I woke up and I opened my eyes and I like the alarm was ringing and I was about to get up and get ready to commute to work. And then it hit me like, am I seriously just gonna get up, go take a shower, go rush in my breakfast, run to catch the bus, and then get off the bus, ride the second bus, and then ride the metro, and then go to the office and then sit there for 8 hours, and then get out and then run to the metro station and then um, like get to the correct station to get off the metro and then take a bus and then walk 2 kilometers back home. And then I get to rest until tomorrow where I have to do it again. And like, do I want to do that? And I was in my bed for hours, like long after my clock-in hour. I was in my bed. At that point, I knew it was over. So I was just holding on as much as I could, amassing some resources, and I left the company after having, had that crushing realization. And that was a very important thing that happened to me. After that, I went and visited my cousin a couple of days before he left for the United States to study his higher education, his university. Um, I stayed there for about a month. That ended up eating through all of my to all my savings, all of my resources. Um, it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. I ended up coming back here, and I yeah, there were a couple of months where I was like trying to get another job, and I was like applying to a lot of stuff. This was in 2019, um, about September, August of 2019, and I was not getting any luck, and I was really getting worried about my life, and everything. Like, what am I going to do now that I don't have a job? Like, I'm just gonna run out of money, and then I'm gonna starve. And this is a privileged position because at no point I was at the risk of, facing homelessness. And I am completely aware of that now. It could have been much worse. It was bad. It could have been a lot worse. Um, but anyway, during that time, I started getting into watching Twitch streams. This was long before um, the abusive amount of advertisements that there is in Twitch now. So I watched streams on Twitch, and I enjoyed them. And I wanted to stream, but I didn't have the money to buy a headset or a headset. I did have my internet connection, like it was stable enough for me to stream, because I changed my internet plan while I was still working at the previous job. Um, so I kind of had robust internet for streaming, but I didn't have everything else for streaming, like the tools required. Um, During that time, my mom got a job at a call center. She was working from home, and she had a headset that I could plug into the computer, that could be plugged into the computer. So I grabbed it for a little bit, and I started like streaming. My first streaming schedule was from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it was from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. because that's the amount of time that I could stream for before my mom had to take the headset and use it for work. Um, so that's how I started to stream in February of 2020. This was before, a little bit before COVID. Um, I attribute my success in in streaming. I don't know if you could call it success, but at the very least, I got a ball rolling that wasn't there before. When it came to roguelikes and crawl, I attribute it to COVID. Really, people were stuck in their homes, and everyone who was in the streaming business, or everyone who tried to make streaming a thing, um, had more viewers during that time. I can see it myself. I could see it myself through my metrics, though I'm not entirely sure if it was the case that it was like that I had viewership because of that, or if it was because of my content was good and I just started losing viewers because my content stopped being good. Um, which, by the way, if you stop watching because my content was bad, well, first of all, I bet you're not watching this or not listening to this, and I understand it. Um, but yeah, as I was saying, I understand if you stop watching because I too would stop watching if I was producing what I am producing. This is part of the reason why I haven't been able to stream a lot nowadays because I am disappointed with what I can do with what I can produce when I press the start stream button. I don't like it, and I don't feel like it's worth anyone's time, and that makes me not want to do it. I'm still thinking about how to deal with that situation. If it's salvageable, if it's replaceable, like if I can replace crawl with something else, or if it's just beyond salvation. If I need to quit, I'm probably gonna have to quit because so far it's been a couple of years and I haven't thought of anything that I can do that makes me able to make what I can make when I play crawl and I'm having a good time with crawl. Um, yeah. So, why did I tell you the story of my teenage slash adult life? because today I turned 30, and and those are my life experiences. And I can tell you that I am in a very similar position to when I was 20. I am broke, I am unemployed, um, and I use my computer for a long time in my everyday life. I use it very often. I have learned a good amount of stuff from my computer usage in this post-employment age, 2019 to now. I have learned a lot that had I not been given the privilege of spending this time this way, I would probably have never learned. So for that, I will forever be grateful to my viewers and my patrons and my donors and my subscribers on Twitch and everyone, even those who just watch videos on YouTube. A couple of months ago, I got my first YouTube payout after about 5 years of uploading streams to YouTube. So yeah, every one of you have contributed to me being able to use my time this way to learn and become a greater person, a person that um, would like to be able to produce, thoughts, write things, um, reflections of the reality that we live in. Um, the kind of thing that a parent would like to pass on to their descendant, except that for me, because of the material realities of the world that I live in, I don't think I'm going to be having any descendants myself. So next best thing is to just make videos on YouTube, I suppose. So I'm probably going to be doing that in the near future, or in the future. The video right before this one is a taste of what I have in mind, what I would like to turn this channel into. Um, as much as I would like to uphold the status quo of uploading crawl and showing crawl wins left and right, I think that that era of Nine Settler is over. I don't really think that there is any way for me to be able to do that consistently. And for other games, well, whenever I play other games, there's no interest. I understand why there is no interest. I just cannot do what I was able to do with Crawl with other games. So there's that. Um, a couple of months ago in my stream, I put up a donation bar for my birthday. Like I think I put it at the start of June, so 2 months. Um, I wanted $250, and I know it sounds like a sizable amount, but I wanted it because it's been more than half my life since I get blood work done, blood tests, and I am very curious about getting blood tests done. Uh, and on top of that, I want to get blood tests done because for a couple of years, since pretty much 2023, I've had chest pain. Sometimes it's very little, sometimes it's not there at all. Sometimes it is annoying and quite worrisome. The only time it was quite intense, it was the first time that I got them in 2023, right before a trip that I had, that I was sponsored on to take the trip. And yeah, I am worried about that, but I cannot really afford to test myself. So if you want to contribute to me, you know, checking me up so that I am not, at risk of dying or something, I would like to know if I'm at risk of dying. To try to avert it, of course. Well, you can contribute through my donation link in the description or through Patreon. You can also do that as well. Uh, I didn't really make the video to talk about that, but it is just a little mention at the end. I'm sitting here in front of my computer recording after having had my my treat that I gave myself for my birthday, which is a bulldog um, yakisoba soup. I don't know if you can call it that, like the ones where you boil the soup, and then you drain the water, and then you add the sauces, and then you eat it, and it's delicious. I had one of those. Because it had been a while since the last time that I had one, probably like a year, or half a year at least. And it was nice. It was not great, but it was nice. Well worth the price. But anyway, I am just talking too much about this, about nonsense. I don't even know if I should upload this. Not gonna lie, but I don't know. If you see it, it means that I uploaded it. Um, Regardless, thank you for everything. I cannot tell you that things will continue in this channel because I really don't feel like I can continue. But I will figure out what to do. Maybe maybe more of a video like the one that I uploaded before this one, as I already said. That's what I would like to make. That's what I would like to produce. But anyway, see you around, and thank you for everything once again. Hopefully, I can make a video like this when I'm 40.